Hello everyone, this is our YouTube channel Learn Together, and today we are going to start with class 10 CBSE Chemistry chapter number 1, Chemical Reactions and Equations. Okay, so in this chapter we will study about what is chemical reaction. Chemical reaction is something when we are going to mix two or more components together and they are going to react with each other and form a new or more than one new substances. They are said to be as a chemical reaction. Okay, this is applicable only for chemical reactions, like chemical changes, not for physical changes. Okay, so when the substance are mixed together, two or more substances mixed together and form one or more new substances, then they are said to be as a chemical reaction. And the properties of those newly prepared substances will be differ from their earlier one. Okay, so this is a chemical reaction. Suppose you are going to mix zinc with hydrochloric acid, so it is going to produce pop sound, which is showing the presence of hydrogen, and there is a salt prepared, that is zinc chloride. Okay, so now the chemical reaction is there, but what will happen if we are supposed to describe that reaction, that how you are going to write it down? So the symbolic representation, symbolic means whenever you are having symbols, whenever you are going to use symbols, the symbolic representation of a chemical reaction is called as chemical equation. So this is known as chemical equation. This is a question which is generally asked in CBSE board exams, that what do you understand by chemical equation? So one liner answer is this: the symbolic representation of a chemical reaction is known as chemical equation. And a very important thing which you have to understand, that whenever you are writing any of the definitions in chemistry, you have to mention one of the example along with it, so it will give you extra marks, like not extra, but the possibility of deduction of marks is very less in that case. Okay, now moving towards our next topic, that is what are the components of a chemical reaction. So the components of a chemical reactions are two, right? The part which is present on the left hand side of the arrow is known as the reactant part, which I am highlighting with a green color, and whatever the part is written on the left hand side, right hand side of the arrow, which I am highlighting with pink color, this is known as product. Okay, right hand side product and left hand side reactant. Okay, so these are the two components of a chemical reaction. You have to make very clear that whenever you are going to draw the arrow, you have to draw the arrow from left to right, because this is the only way to present the reaction. If you are going to reverse the arrow, this makes no sense. Okay, so this is for the reaction and components of chemical reaction. Now moving towards the next topic, that is 5 main characteristics of a chemical reaction. How will you identify that the given equation is a chemical reaction or not? So the very important thing which you have to understand, that there should be a change in state. And it's not like that you are having all the 5 characters in a chemical reaction. If any one of them is there, it means the chemical reaction is happening. Okay, because for example, if you are going to mix water with water, then among these 5 nothing is going to happen. Not the state is changed, temperature is raised or decreased, color is changed, no evolution of gas, no precipitate formation, no. So it means whenever you are mixing 2 or more reagents, then there should be a change in state, or the temperature changes. It might be the temperature rise, sometimes temperature decrease. This must happen. And if there is any color change, then there should be a color change, so that it will be visible for us to understand and there will be might be evolution of gas. Sometimes pop sound is there for hydrogen, effervescence is there for carbon dioxide. This might can happen, and if nothing is going to happen, at least precipitate formation is there. I hope you all know the precipitate, the insoluble particles left in the solution is known as precipitate. Okay, so these are the reactions which are demonstrating that whether the five main characteristics, how they are happening. Like we have taken a candle, and now the burning of candle started. Whatever the wick is there, the wick, the thread part inside the candle is going to burn, and it will completely done. Then there will be a change in the state of the wax, right? So the burning of wax from solid to liquid shows that there is a chemical reaction happening. Okay, now moving towards the temperature. If you are going to mix magnesium with oxygen, you will be getting magnesium oxide, and there will be a lot amount of heat and light produced. So there is a change in temperature. Now coming to the next, change in color, and we are going to mix lead nitrate with Ki solution. You all know what is Ki. Ki means potassium iodide. So if you are going to mix potassium iodide with lead nitrate, you will be getting a yellow precipitate of lead iodide, and this is very important for CBSE. They generally ask you a yellow precipitate is formed, so generally it is the salt of lead iodide. Okay, and potassium nitrate is left over as a solution. Okay, now moving to, so there's a color change. Lead nitrate is having white color, but lead iodide is having yellow purity. Okay, evolution of gas, zinc is there, and when zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, it is going to produce hydrogen gas for sure, and this gives you a pop sound. It means that there is something which is evolving from the solution, and this shows evolution of gas, one of the characteristic of chemical reaction. Now moving towards the last topic, that is precipitate formation. Barium chloride as a solution, transparent solution. Sulfuric acid is also a light yellowish color solution, and when we are going to mix both of them together, they will give you the precipitate of barium sulfate. I'm highlighting with a pink color, and HCl gas is going to produce over there, HCl liquid. Okay, so these are the things which are demonstrating that a chemical reaction is occurring. Okay, now moving towards our next topic, that is the representation of a chemical reaction. If we are going to represent a reaction, then there are four ways to present it. Okay, the first one is writing the word equation. Suppose we are using chemical words like carbon reacts with oxygen, so it is going to be a word equation. Representation using the full names, whatever the full names of the compounds are there, we are using those names, and the reaction will come up like that. Like as you can see the example over here, magnesium with oxygen produces magnesium oxide. Okay, so this is the word equation. Generally CBSE gives you word equation and asks you to balance the chemical equation. So this is going to be one of the hint that you have to do two steps. First you have to write the skeletal equation, and then you have to write balanced equation. Okay, now moving towards the next presentation, that is chemical equation. Okay, so chemical equation means you have to use the symbols. You just have to use the symbol, and you have to write the equation. You can use the formulas, symbols for the atoms, and formulas for the molecules. And very important question is coming next. What do you understand by skeletal equation? So skeletal equation means unbalanced chemical equation, that is having unbalanced molecules. As you can see, magnesium reacts with oxygen, giving out magnesium oxide, and as you can see that this side we have on the reactant side we have single magnesium, and that side we have single magnesium. But if we talk about oxygen, then we are having O2 this side and single oxygen this side. So this is the chemical equation which is in its skeletal form, not in balanced form. And coming to the very most important topic, that is balanced chemical equation, generally asked in the form why equation needs to be balanced. What do you understand by balanced chemical equation? So for writing that answer, you have an equation. You can make it like that also, that an equation containing equal number of atoms on both reactant and product side. This is known as a balanced chemical equation. Okay, so let me just focus on this, that how you are going to balance it. See the reaction which we are having earlier, Mg plus O2 gives out MgO. So if you are going to put 2 in front of Mg and 2 in front of MgO, this side also 2Mg, 2O, and this side also 2Mg and 2O. So this reaction is said to be a balanced chemical equation. And for the answer, why it needs to be balanced? So to make it follow law of conservation of mass. This is the answer why it needs to be balanced. Okay, so this is all for today's video, and I'll come next video. In this we will discuss about how the balancing is done. Okay, thank you so much. Please do like, share and comment, and if there is any question, post your comments. We will surely answer you.